This top of the lineup is loaded. Lindor, yeah, Soto, incredible. Pete, Nimmo, Vientos, Winker. That is an incredible lineup.
Yes.
The top of this lineup,
Scary.
not only do they have so many good hitters, I love the balance. And I don't just mean lefty-righty balance. They have, which they have. Lindor switch, Soto lefty, Pete righty, Nimmo lefty, Vientos righty, Winker lefty. I don't even just mean that. I mean the Lindor power and speed combo, the Soto OBP and power, the Nimmo OBP, Vientos the power, Winker reliable veteran bat to go with the young, high potential Alvarez power bat.
Oh
Such
my
a well
God.
balanced in terms of skill set.
This
I
is
think it's the
not
second
good.
best lineup in baseball.
Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew Sistat, glad unite. Philly NY in the spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 34. It is part 2 of our 3-part MLB season preview episodes. On this episode, we are previewing the 2025 New York Mets. Last year, the New York Mets, 89-73, a surprise run to the NLCS where they lost to the Dodgers in 6 games. Last year, the Mets, they didn't have high expectations going to the season. It was a year, not a rebuilding year, but a retooling year. And then they surprised everyone and went on this huge second half run all the way to the NLCS where they gave the Dodgers a fight. And now this year, the expectations are high because they did something this offseason.
What did
Have
they
you heard
do?
about it?
What did they do?
So let's get into the key additions and departures for the New York Mets. The key addition, Juan Soto. Steve Cohen showed his financial might. He identified, and the Mets organization identified a player that they said, this is the guy we want to build our roster around for the next 10 years. And they got him. They beat out the Yankees. They beat out the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and whoever else was involved. And now the expectations and the excitement is on a whole nother level. Mets fans are ecstatic. The expectation is that they improve on last year. And when most baseball fans think about improving, they think, well, they lost in the NLCS. So what's the next step? Oh, they have to get to the World Series.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anything else is a failure.
Everything else is a failure.
That's right.
The Mets are now the Yankees.
Yep. This is, after all, New York. I would be hyped if I was a Mets fan. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. They got Juan Soto. They also got Clay Holmes. And they turned him into a starting pitcher. They got Frankie Montas. He's hurt. They got AJ Minter. They got Jose Siri to play center field. They got Griffin Canning. They lost Severino, Bader, JD Martinez, and Quintana. A busy offseason for the Mets.
Absolutely. Wow.
They retained Pete Alonso. They retained Jesse Winker. So, a busy offseason. A quick note about the Mets, though, when we're talking about this preview. They have a lot of injuries right now, a lot of spring training injuries, and we'll get into them. But Montas, Manaea, McNeil, Alvarez, a lot of injuries. So they lost JDM. He was bad. They lost Quintana. He's fine. He's a depth starter, easily replaceable. And like I said, they retained Pete Alonso. They retained Sean Manaea.
Mm-hmm.
And Manaea's out to start the season with an oblique injury. He's expected
oblique.
Back around May. Another oblique.
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
pitchers and their obliques.
Yeah.
And they're kind of made another off-season acquisition via Kodai Senga coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Senga was out essentially the whole season last year.
Yeah.
So he's back. The year before that, 2023, Senga was by far their best starter and among the best pitchers in baseball that year. So if they can get anything close to that, that'd be huge for the Mets. All right, let's get into the lineup. The projected lineup for the New York Mets. I'm going to tell you something, man. I might surprise you in some ways in this episode, in this preview episode.
Okay.
Both for being positive, optimistic about the Mets, and being negative, pessimistic about the Mets. But when you're talking about this lineup,
you're not just a salty Yankees fan, dude, who's mad that they got Juan Soto? You might be.
I'm not at all. I am very happy
Smells
for the
like
Mets.
salt in here. Okay.
What does salt smell like?
It smells like salt. You know what salt
That's a
smells
good one.
like.
I have no idea what salt smells like. All right. The top of the lineup. Now, I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. I'm assuming they're doing Lindor, Soto, Pete Alonso, Nimmo. Nimmo's injured, kind of. Not sure what's going to happen, what his status is. It's kind of open-ended right now. But Vientos, Winker, Alvarez is out, but McNeil's out. But
you think they would leave Lindor off?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I don't even know what else they would do. They can
Nimmo's
lead
always
off
been
Nimmo.
their leadoff guy, right? Yeah. He could do that stupid friggin' thing where he runs down to first base.
Yeah, no, yeah.
God, is there anything worse than that when that guy does that?
I know you hate that. I know you hate that.
Oh my God, I can't stand it.
If he was on the team that you rooted for, you would like it. So
no, I would think it's lame.
Enjoyable.
I would think it's awful. No.
Okay.
Just jog like everyone else, man. We get it.
They're going to lead off.
You drew a walk. Okay.
All right. This has been a thing for way too long for us to debate to talk about right now. He's been doing it for like 10 years. I mean, obviously he hasn't been playing for 10 years. But
between that and the friggin' Soto shuffle, man, I mean, is this the most unlikable team in the MLB?
No, Soto shuffle's awesome. And he's on the Mets. I can appreciate it still. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It was awesome because he took your team to the world. It's just lame.
What's your issue with it? I enjoyed it
in the box. No, you did not enjoy it when he was on Washington or San Diego.
I did.
You are lying.
I've always been a big Juan Soto fan. This is not it. I'm not like just a
I know, but you're not a fan of what you are. You appreciate, how good a player is. You appreciate their stats.
I appreciate the profile.
Impact.
I appreciate.
Yes. You don't You don't appreciate antics and silliness. You've never done that before.
No, of course
not. You are becoming more sentimental as you get older, and because he was a Yankee and was really good, you now think the Soto shuffle is cool. But it's not.
Do you think Yankee fans are going to
the typical thing that you would like?
I don't. Okay, you're right. It's not. Let me correct it. I don't necessarily like it, but I certainly don't dislike it.
You dislike it.
No, I don't.
Dude, care. the people who like the Soto shuffle are the people who say vibe. Okay.
Let's continue on.
Dare I say the Soto shuffle is a vibe?
Mets fans want to hear about the 2025 Mets. They don't want to hear us bicker. All right. So this top of the lineup is loaded. Lindor, yes, he's going to lead off. Soto, incredible. Pete, Nimmo, Vientos, Winker. Obviously, when health, Alvarez, McNeil, Siri. That is an incredible lineup.
Yes.
The top of this lineup,
scary.
Not only do they have so many good hitters, I love the balance. And I don't just mean lefty-righty balance. Which they have. Lindor switch, Soto lefty, Pete righty, Nimmo lefty, Vientos righty, Winker lefty. I don't even just mean that. I mean the Lindor power and speed combo, the Soto OBP and power, the Nimmo OBP, Vientos the power, Winker reliable veteran bat to go with the young high potential Alvarez power bat, and then McNeil contact. Like it's such a well balanced in terms of skill set. I think it's the second best lineup in baseball.
Oh my God. This is not.
I think it's the second best lineup in baseball after the Dodgers.
Yeah. Great. So
really
why
why
are you not as high on the Mets? I mean, come on.
We're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Don't ruin it. They didn't have to know that yet.
I need to know though, so I'm being impatient.
Can't talk about this lineup without talking about the fact that Alvarez is out for a while with a broken haymate bone.
Yep.
And McNeil's out, and Nimmo has been battling some injuries in spring training, so he hasn't played in a while. The expectation I've been reading and hearing is that he's going to be ready for opening day. I think it's like a sore knee. I think we'd agree though if the guy hasn't played in 10 days because of his knee or 12 days because of his knee, I wouldn't just assume he's going to be available opening day. And if you're the Mets, why make him available opening day? Just it's fine. We'll have him most of the season.
Did he hurt his knee sprinting to first base after drawing a walk in spring training?
Yes, actually, that's what he said. He actually said that because of this knee, he's going to walk slowly to first base now. All right. The Mets projected starting rotation. This is why I'm not high in the Mets. This is something that I don't agree with. There's a rhetoric out there that I think is ridiculous. And this is just not a sensible thing to do. You go spend a crazy amount of money on Juan Soto. You go bring back Pete. You build this great lineup. You go get Siri to play center field. Why are they okay? This is the rotation. Kodai Senga coming off a season where he basically didn't pitch. David Peterson's their number 2, coming off one good major league season. Clay Holmes, their number 3, never been a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. Blackburn has been a 5th, 6th starter for 3 or 4 years now. And Griffin Canning has pitched to a 5 ERA across his Major League career.
This is with injuries right now, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At some point, they'll get Manaea back, who had a career year last year. And they get Montas back, who might be better than Blackburn and Canning. Might be. I don't know. But let's also not assume that those 5 guys I just mentioned are going to stay healthy. They won't.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't pitch Senga. Senga's not. They already announced he's not pitching the first 3 games of the season. They're going to be really careful with his innings. He pitches every 6 days. Clay Holmes is, again, he's starting for the first time. This is David Peterson's never been. I mean, he's not a guy that goes deep in games. He's a 5 inning pitcher. That's very weak.
Wow.
And that's what makes them. This to me is what's preventing them from being a great team. And yes, they can go add a pitcher at the deadline, but it just seems like it's a missed opportunity. You have this amazing lineup. You got a good defensive team. You have a good base running, and you're just gonna let the starting pitching be. You're just gonna trust your pitching coach and your analytics, and that you can just get career years out of 3 or 4 guys. That just seems.
Wow.
I'm really down on the starting pitching.
I'm
also
wow. Okay.
You're also relying on guys like Manaea. It's when he comes back. When a pitcher's hurt going into the season, they have setbacks a lot of time. It's not just, he'll be back. You shouldn't just assume that also.
Yeah.
Like I said, someone else will be hurt when he comes back anyway. Have you heard about the Mets pitching lab narrative?
No. Tell me.
You're going to love this one.
Oh, God.
This is right up your alley of are you just go on a rant if you heard about it.
Oh, boy. All right. Hit me.
Yeah, so there's this narrative out there, this rhetoric out there that the Mets have this amazing pitching lab, and that's what turned Sean Manaea and him around last year, and it's what turned David Peterson around. Even though there was all these signs of all this already happening, Manaea was a few years removed from having a similar season. So there's this narrative that you just throw in guys with pretty good stuff that used to be high viewed in held in high regard or high prospects, and send them to the Mets, put them through this pitching lab, and they come out as aces.
Wow.
That's this narrative that's going on.
Okay.
They turned Sevy around. They didn't turn Luis Severino around. Luis Severino was a dominant pitcher for years. He had injury problems and had one bad year, and then came back, and now everybody thinks it's the Mets that turned him around. Whereas, are you sure he didn't just have a really good year after having a bad year and then having some injuries? Are you sure it's the Mets specifically? He wouldn't have done that anywhere else. I think that's a stretch to be so confident in the Mets pitching lab.
Unless, do you think the lab has some illegal substances, maybe some HGH that they're giving these pitchers? Because that's what I think when I hear the word lab. It's okay, what kind of concoctions are you giving to these people? That's obviously pretty ridiculous. Just stupid thing to say. Whatever. If you want to think that you have a good pitching, coaching staff, then more power to you.
That's the thing is the Mets, do they have a really big analytical department now? That's been built up since Steve Cohen? Yeah, absolutely. Is Hefner a good pitching coach? Yeah, I think there's something to that. But do you really think the Mets are that much smarter than every other team? Are the Mets that much smarter than all these other, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres, the Red Sox, the Astros? Are they really that much smarter where they have this lab and that no one else can? It's just ridiculous.
Yes, you need a key card to get in. There's different levels of security clearances. It's big, for sure. big time. Yeah. Do you think that they have to? Do you think they have to wear white coats and walk around with with Bunsen burners and beakers and those little.
Yeah, I do, and you also had it wrong. They don't. There's no key cards. It's facial recognition.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, good.
Come on, we're in biometrics time.
The lab, yeah.
Projected bullpen usage and high leverage options. Now, I'm down the starting pitching. I think the lineup's the second best in baseball, and the bullpen, I don't get it.
What do you mean?
Edwin Diaz is elite, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Oh, man. Does the lab only work for starting pitchers?
You don't need the lab to make Edwin Diaz great because everyone thinks he's already the best relief pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's really good. He's really good, but I don't think he's this like a top 3 or 4 relief pitcher, which seems most people view him as. So in 2022, he was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I think that is playing tricks on people's minds. So in 22, he was incredible. Best reliever in baseball.
Is that when they traded for him? Or was that 23?
No, that was the second year that they had him. His first year,
okay.
I'll get into that actually. His first year was 21 with the team.
Okay.
So in 22, K rates incredible, ERA, all of it incredible. He was the best reliever in baseball that year. In 2023, the year after that, he missed the entire season. Remember, he got hurt celebrating that injury in the World Baseball Classic. The way he said that didn't make sense. He was celebrating that injury. He got injured celebrating in the World Baseball Classic. In, like I said, 22, he was phenomenal, best reliever in baseball. The year before that, his first year with the Mets in 2021, ERA minus of 86. So 14% better than league average, which for a reliever is not that great.
Right.
It's definitely not elite. And a whip of 1.05, which is very good, but still the elite relievers all have whips under 1 or like just over 1. Last season, an ERA minus of 89. So he was 11% better than the league average pitcher. Essentially, just call it 10% better than the league average pitcher in run prevention. That's not an elite reliever. That's a good pitcher. That's not an elite reliever.
Wow.
Again, a low whip, but this is a guy that he's an elite strikeout guy. I mean, he has really good stuff when he's on. He looks phenomenal. He's low whip, but when he gets hit pretty hard. I mean, last year he gave up 1.17 home runs per 9. This is something. Out of 169 qualified relief pitchers, that's 44th highest home runs per 9 ratio.
Wow.
So, in other words, he was 126 out of 169 qualified relief pitchers in perhaps the most important metric for a relief pitcher, home runs. I would think so.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he's bad, but is that elite? Like, I don't know how why people view him as this elite reliever.
Dude, you are just full of hot takes today, man.
I know.
I love it. Wow.
He was 82nd.
Well, listen, we'll see what happens, but you know why people think he's elite because A, he had a very good year in 2022, and then the trumpets and all that stuff, and
the trumpets,
which are fun. You know, I'll admit that that's cool. It's fun.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make you an elite reliever. Yeah, I think it's just name recognition. Very good, like you said, in 21 and 22. Fun guy to root for, so people associate him with greatness.
I agree. Out of 169 qualified relief pitchers, he was 82nd in adjusted ERA. That's barely better than half of relief pitchers.
Wow.
That's not elite.
Uh-oh.
Now, to be fair, though, he has the quality of stuff where at any year he can have an elite season. His ceiling in any given season is much higher than most of those guys that are around that area.
Sure. Yep.
So I think that's fair to say, but it's also not fair it's not accurate to say that he's an elite reliever. He can be an elite relief pitcher. So that's my main thing out of the bullpen. He's like their best guy, and he's not as good as people seem to think. AJ Minter's a high leverage guy. I think AJ Minter's really good, but he's coming off off-season hip surgery.
From the Braves?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's awesome, dude. Oh God,
yeah.
They got him.
But he's coming. He's really good.
Oh no.
But he's coming. But he's coming off. Okay, relax. Off-season hip surgery. So that impacts pitchers because it does. Because the whole off-season they're rehabbing instead of working on their craft.
It's over.
You're shaking.
I mean, this is.
They got AJ Minter.
This is horrible. This is like the Karl Anthony Towns thing, man. I mean, it's just.
They have Reed Garrett and
Wow.
Jose Budo, which I think are also going to be used in high leverage guys. I just don't think the bullpen's great. I think the lineup's incredible. Second, like I said, keep saying second best in baseball. I'm really high in the lineup. I love the balance of it, but I don't like the pitching staff. I don't like the starting rotation. I don't like the bullpen. Now, these are all things they can address at the deadline, but it just seems they're really relying on this pitching lab way too much. Okay. Biggest question marks for the Mets. I think I already kind of emphasized this, but my question is, do they have the quality? Well, no. I think the health's an issue right now because they have so many injuries going into the season, but it's really just the pitching. Do they have the quality pitching compared to the other top teams? On our Phillies episode that's already out, we talked about how great their starting pitching is, and their bullpen's good, very good. The Braves obviously have really good pitching. They're going to get Strider back at some point. I mean, they have Chris Sale, Schwellenbach, but the Braves have really good pitching. And
Charlie Morton's still there or not?
No, Charlie Morton left. And then the Dodgers obviously have great pitching. And then even the other teams that are like the Diamondbacks have really good pitching. The Padres have really good pitching. I just don't. I'm really curious if two things: if their pitching is going to hold up, three things. If their offense is going to be so good, which I expect it to be really good, if it's going to, at least for the regular season, going to make up for the lack of pitching. And then is this pitching lab rhetoric that I don't believe in with Jeremy Hefner as the pitching coach, is it actually real? Because if they actually turn if they turn Griffin Canning, Paul Blackburn, and I don't know who else you want to say, but just say those two guys. And Clay Holmes into like these like high end starting pitchers. Maybe
you'll be a believer. You will believe.
I'll be a believer. Yeah, I will. I'm open to changing my mind. I don't believe in it right now. I think it's not that I don't believe in it. I think they do good things. I just don't think it's anything so significantly different than the other really well-run organizations are doing. And it's not like they don't have some like secret that no one knows is what I'm essentially saying.
Right.
Okay. This segment is very specific to the Mets. We can't do this for the other season preview episodes we're doing.
Okay. All right.
The Juan Soto effect. What do you think?
I think it's incredible for them. He's amazing, obviously. He's going to be just what that lineup, I don't even know if they needed it because they were pretty good last year, but I mean, what a way to just catapult yourself from a pretty good lineup to, like you were saying, amongst the top in baseball.
So when I say the Juan Soto effect, yes, obviously he makes their lineup a lot better. You're putting in a top 2 or 3 OBP guy and a top 4 or 5 hitter in all of baseball into the lineup, into the number 2 spot. But this is something that's hard to quantify, but the impact he has on a lineup in terms of he sees a lot of pitches, he gets on base. So obviously him getting on base, other guys are... Wait, I think we talked about this before. Do you know the reason why getting on base is so important?
The reason why getting on base is so
important.
About this. Well, it's because that's how you score runs.
This is like the same conversation we had.
It's the number one thing that you can do to score runs, right?
But why?
Because you're not getting out.
That's it. That's the answer. You have 27 outs in a game. So any time a hitter's not getting out, that's really valuable. So the Juan Soto effect, he instills this.
How about me thinking? Look at that. Using my brain. Wow.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Good job.
I went to the lab. Yeah. Thank you.
You said hi to Jeremy.
Yep.
Something I noticed with the Yankees last year, guys throughout the lineup had more disciplined approaches. Some you could say, like I said, this is not quantifiable. This could be a coincidence, but I believe that he's the type of personality, and his plate appearances and bats are they're really so fun to watch. He's so locked in. I know like the shuffle is like, but he has this like confidence, like arrogance at the plate that I think there's some sort of emotional effect to his teammates where they feel that confidence. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to play well. Most of the Yankees lineup outside of him and Judge was terrible last year. So it didn't affect them like where they were better, but their approaches were more disciplined. They were more locked in and not swinging at pitches outside the zone. There's an effect to that. And then the fan base is obviously so excited. So they had very low attendance last year. Their attendance is going to be really high this year. So all of that has an effect. And getting Juan Soto, not only getting the player, getting from the Yankees really has created hysteria among the fan base. So I think you'll see that at the ballpark. You'll see that in TV ratings. It'll have a huge impact on the Mets culture.
Yeah, it's not just getting him. It's how their season ended last year, right? They go on this insane run. And like you said, they put up a really good fight against the Dodgers. And that people just remember the magic of the Mets last year. The Mets magic. Isn't that what we called it?
Yeah. It was crazy, that run.
So going from the last week of the regular season to, their tiebreaker with the Braves the last day of the regular season, to them, beating the Brewers and that crazy, a couple of crazy comebacks in that series, to beating the Phillies, to, didn't they didn't take game one, right? They took game two out in LA last year. But anyway, yeah, just very fun, unexpected. It's like the perfect way to excite your fan base, right? You have a team kind of come out of nowhere with a bunch of likable guys that everyone likes to root for, and you make it a lot further than you were expected to, and then you make the biggest free agent splash that we can remember in a long time. So it's Mets fans should be really excited. It's an exciting time.
Yeah.
It should be a really fun year.
X factors
for them. Yeah.
For them, not for the Phillies.
Not for me.
X factors. These are your players who will make or break the season. I have a hard time with this one because I don't think there's a player. I already talked about the pitching. I'm going to say Clay Holmes on this one, though.
Nice.
Clay Holmes is, look, I don't get
you hate
wrapped
him.
up in spring
He's
training.
The worst. No, you hate him so much. You're seething.
Clay Holmes looks really good in spring training as a starter.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think so. If he actually becomes like a really, really high-end starting pitcher, I think that changes the outlook of their rotation. So I'm going to say Clay Holmes. I don't think it's just that simple. I think it's a combination of that, Senga being healthy, Manaea coming back and being healthy, Griffin Canning or Blackburn, one of them being good. I think they need more than that, but if I had to have to just pick one player, I'll say Clay Holmes. I also think the prospects, these homegrown players, they have Acuna, Ronald's brother, Tidwell, Beatty, and Mauricio. So there's a good chance that the Mets are going to be relying on a couple of these guys with all the injuries that they have. Beatty has been a letdown, but he'll get a chance. So we'll see how much impact that those guys have on the season. But like I said, the top of the lineup's so good that if they get a couple guys at the bottom of the lineup to break out, they actually have a chance to be better than the Dodgers lineup-wise.
God.
So that could be pretty big. And then I think we also want to how do they stack up in the NL East and the National League in general? You think that they're
I think they're the second best team in the NL East.
After the Braves.
Yes. I mean, maybe. I don't know, man. From what you've said here, they might be the best. I don't know. Good God.
I've said a lot
of Minter?
Positive,
it's like, oh, God.
But I've said a lot of negative about the Mets here. About their pitching.
I think that you've been mostly very positive, I think.
Okay. I think that the Braves and Phillies are better. Slightly better. I don't think it's a significant difference. Like I said, we can't compare anyone to the Dodgers. The Dodgers are on their own tier. But I think the Padres and Diamondbacks are right there, probably slightly better than the Mets also. I think the Mets are a team that's... Let me save what I'm about to say for the bold prediction hot take segment.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to get into that right now?
Sure, yeah. I want to hear it. What is your hot take for the Mets? The pinstripes.
I have three.
They wear pinstripes. Takes. Come on.
I have 3 hot takes about the Mets.
Okay. Number 1.
All right. Number 1. Francisco Lindor will have a big-time regression season.
Ooh, love to hear that. All right. Tell me why. Tell me more.
He just had a peak season last year, and I think to expect him to repeat that is unlikely. He finished second in MVP. He had his best offensive season of his career, and I just don't view him as he's a really good player. The overall player is terrific. The defense, the base running, the hitting, but he's not. He has in his career he has shown that he's not an elite OBP guy. He's not an elite batting average guy. He has power. He has good power. He has pretty good OBP skills and batting average skills, and you put it together, and he's a very good hitter. But he's not an amazing hitter like he was last year, and that's the basis for my take.
Okay.
The second one is Mark Vientos is going to take a step back.
So that was going to be my X factor was him.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, I just think he was great last year. And now we'll see what kind of adjustments pitchers make to him for this upcoming season here. And he will have to adjust to their adjustments that they're making on him.
I don't love the profile, the slow OBP, aggressive type profile that where he had really good results last year. It's hard to repeat that year to year. I'm kind of down on Vientos.
All right. Okay. This is great.
And
Two negative hot takes from you. Come on, make it 3 for 3.
The Mets will be in contention for the third wildcard spot, but will ultimately miss the playoffs.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
You are insane.
Am I now? Do you smell the salt again?
You are a hater. You are so mad that they got Soto, and so mad that they're gonna turn Holmes into a stud, and you can't handle it. Oh my god!
Interesting analysis,
dude. Don't worry. The Yankees are still gonna be really good. This has very little effect on the Yankees, dude. It's all good. Don't be mad. Don't be a hater. Right. Unbelievable, this guy. Wow.
So what if I said the Mets are going to win the World Series? What would you say then?
I would say that you're just being a negative Yankees fan, and you need to appreciate the greatness that your team is gonna have. But you're doing the opposite, so I can't hate you for that.
I'm giving a bold prediction and a hot take.
It's great.
Who's predicting the Mets to miss the playoffs?
Nobody at all. Right. You are.
There's a hot take. I am.
Love it, dude. You're getting good.
Do you have any hot takes on the Mets? They're going to win the World Series. What's your hot take?
They're going to win the. Yes. They're going to win. They're going to beat the Yankees in the World Series. They're going to sweep them 4-0.
And they're going to get. What are they going to do?
And Juan Soto is going to be the Juan Soto World Series MVP.
And what about the Dodgers? Are they going to lose before the Mets, or the Mets going to beat them too?
The Mets will beat them in a thrilling NLCS rematch from last year.
How many games?
It's a 7 games. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be great.
You were going to say Soto hits. So what? Soto's going to hit like a game-winning homer in Game 7.
Soto hits the go-ahead home run in Game 7 in the 9th inning.
What, in the 9th inning?
In the 9th inning.
Are they home or are they away?
Just like he did in Cleveland. Just like he did in Cleveland last year. Yeah, they're away.
That was the 10th inning, but okay.
Yes, same thing.
All right. I like that one. That's good. That's fun. All right. Fangraphs season win totals and playoff odds. Fangraphs has the season win total at 86.4.
Wow.
Fangraphs playoff odds are 64%. So apparently I'm not that much of a hot take guy.
Wow. That is shocking.
16.6% chance to win the NL East.
Hold on. One thing that they are not taking into consideration for the win total is the vibes.
The vibes are immaculate.
The vibes they couldn't be higher.
No. The aura, they're not taking into account.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Soto's aura.
Yeah. He has it.
He's glowing.
4.5% chance to win the World Series
Yes.
via Fangraphs.
Okay.
All right. Subscriber questions. You ready to wrap up with some sub questions?
Sure.
At Alex Marks. This is a... Oh, let me preface this, by the way. I have 3 subscriber questions. One of them I think is hilarious.
Okay.
The way it's worded. 2 of them are long. One of them is very long, the first one. So let me just prepare you for that one.
Okay.
At Alex Marks, as a Mets fan, I've grown up having a pessimistic and, in quotations, waiting for this other shoe to drop mentality. I'm finally feeling enthusiastic and encouraged, stemming from last year's playoff run to having a very successful offseason and signing Juan Soto long term with an exclamation point. Juan Soto long term. That being said, I'm feeling uneasy and worried about the state of the starting rotation and how it could be exposed this year against the upper echelon teams in the National League. I want to trust Stearns and the front office based on last year's success with the rotation, but this feels like a problem in the making. If you were running the Mets front office, what do you think could be a viable solution to address this situation as the Mets, in parentheses, hopefully gear up for a deep postseason run? Like I said, very long.
Okay.
At this point, they're not addressing it. You're not doing
Right.
anything significant right now. But I think the answer to this question is, one, I agree that about being uneasy and concerned about it. As I pointed out, I think that's gonna keep them from being successful and ultimately make the playoffs in my prediction. But if the Mets, assuming they're in it and their lineup's really doing well, and they get between Canning, Clay Holmes, and Blackburn, they get one of these guys becomes a reliable, very good level starting pitcher, and they get a healthy Senga, and then between Manaea and Montas, one of them comes back, stays healthy, and pitches effectively, and they're a really good team, then they have the prospects, and obviously they have the financial wherewithal to go and make significant moves at the deadline, even though it's very competitive, the deadline, and with all these wild card spots. They have the prospects and the money to add. So if the team shows that it's really close and that, hey, we need a high-end starting pitcher, we need a high-end reliever, that's what they'll do. They'll do it at the deadline.
Yep.
I think that's the answer to that question.
I totally agree. And I understand, Alex, I understand how you're feeling right now, my friend, in terms of waiting for the other shoe to drop, disappointment after disappointment. I totally get it. I'm right there with you.
Once you have that as a fan, it's hard to get rid of that.
Yes. It is ingrained in you.
Yeah. All right. Second subscriber question at JoeBRN_04. Convince me the Mets don't have the best top of the lineup, and then in parentheses 1 through 5 in MLB. Convince them.
I will not try to convince you otherwise.
I will.
Yeah. I mean, you will, but I won't.
Why, you agree, or you just think that it's good enough?
I mostly agree. I mean, I guess obviously you're going to say the Dodgers, but
because they're the answer to everything.
Yeah, I know.
Dodgers are insane.
I know. I
said in this episode already a number of times that I think it's the second best lineup in baseball. So I'm really high in the lineup, and 1 through 5 is incredible. Really 1 through 4, but 1 through 5. Really good. That top of the lineup's really good, but Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, and Will Smith. Like, are you sure that the Mets 1 through 5 is better than that? Come on. It doesn't have to be the best. Be excited. I mean, they have 3 of the top 10 hitters in baseball in the Dodgers in their lineup. I mean, it's not...
Yeah, pretty insane.
Yeah, it's not a knock on the Mets to say they have the second best lineup. That's a huge compliment. The Dodgers aren't a real team. They're not a real major league team. They're a completely stacked roster that's doing something else that every other organization is doing. They just keep adding. It's never enough. It's add. Every other team's like, oh, we have a couple holes. We're fine. We'll fill them at the deadline. The Dodgers are like, oh, we have everything we need. Let's get more. Everyone else doesn't want to spend. Let's get more. So anyway, to convince you, Joe, that the Mets don't have the best 1 through 5, Do me a favor, go on baseballreference.com, go on fangraphs.com, and look up the Dodgers 1 through 5. And they'll convince you.
Wow. He's fed up. All right.
He's fed up. I'm fed up. All right, this one's funny. This was a really funny subscriber question.
Okay.
At _muchacho_ Mendoza, Carlos Mendoza, has vacated his position as manager. Wow. The bench coach is nowhere to be found. Steve Cohen makes an executive decision to hire the host of the Fanatics Analytics pod. What's your starting rotation? So I just had to include that one just because it's just hilarious the way that whole story.
Yeah.
I like the story and the build-up. First of all, congrats to both of us.
Yeah, who do you think would be a better manager, me or you?
I mean, come on, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, obviously me.
What would be your managerial style?
I would be one of the guys, I think all the players would like me. They think I'm cool.
You're cool.
I'd motivate them. You got to find everybody's hot button. Whereas, you would sit there on Fangraphs and, and that's how you would make your lineup.
I would be very analytical based for sure. And I would tell them if they tell me that something that they're feeling or something like that, I don't see that in my computer.
Yeah, that's right. You would be the second worst manager in New York.
So, who would be the starting rotation? I mean, I think they don't really have many options, unfortunately, to answer the question. I mean, half their starting pitching on their depth is injured. Exaggerating a little bit by that, but it's not that far off. Let me pull up their starting pitching. So Manaea is out. So, I mean, my rotation would obviously be Senga. You have to have Peterson and Holmes. I don't really know if you have many options right now. I think you have to do Canning and Blackburn, which is the clear. Because Sproat's probably not ready. He's a prospect. And Montas is hurt and Manaea's hurt. And so I think that's the answer, is the one that they're going out with because they don't really have any options. Everyone's hurt.
Yeah. You don't really set
I didn't choose that question because of... I'm saying I didn't choose that question because of the question. I just choose the question because that story was hilarious.
Yes. Okay.
Great story.
Had me going for a second. I thought you were breaking news right there, man.
What did you? You thought I left subscriber questions and broke news? Imagine. All right, that's it. Any last thoughts on the New York Mets for 2025?
Nope. I hope all of your hot takes / bold predictions come true.
Yes, that's right. Mets fans, I'm sorry. I know you disagree with me. For your sake, I hope I'm wrong. Let's go Mets. Hey, you're going to get an amazing Juan Soto season because he's incredible and he's great every year.
And he's not mad about it at all.
Thanks for tuning in. Please give us a like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Philly pride insists that's all. Andrew rapping and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems. Philbert and White, who we call. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear, join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in one.